What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Southeast Asia Oceania Shadowverse Open Brigade of the Skies, and this is going to be our Take-Two Cup. What's going on, Ignatius? How you doing?
Doing well, man. I'm excited to get some Take-Two games in here. The mini expansion just dropped, so I'm really interested to see how these new cards change the entire landscape of the game.
That's right, guys. We're bringing you the action straight from Singapore here. My name is Majin Obama, joined by, of course, none other than Ignatius. We're going to be bringing you, again, this Brigade of the Skies Take-Two Cup here today. And look, man, let's save the small talk for later. Let's hop right into our match. We got Echai going up against Kyo, going up round one of this top 8. See who's going to take home these points and get on this, make some moves on this leaderboard.
And you seem to be taking some liberties with the pronunciation there.
What? I take what they give me. I take what they give me, man.
I mean, it's fair because these are names that we haven't seen before.
Yeah, we were talking about that, right? In this top 8, we have quite a few names that are established, right? Quite a few names that are trying to either increase their lead on the leaderboard or even make their climb up into those top 2 spots to be able to get themselves into that Contenders Cup later this year, right?
That's right.
But these two guys are relative unknowns, making some headway here.
I love that. Like, you just come in, you play, you beat out all these known players, like out of nowhere, and then you get to the top 8, no problem.
Kind of like what Razor Shen did a couple weeks ago at the Shadowverse World Circuit in Singapore.
I still can't believe that happened.
Your lucky cameraman said I was too expensive to go to that event, because if I would have been there and Shen would have done it, I would have popped off so hard. So look at this Take-Two draft. Here we go.
Here we go. So he's picking Portalcraft. Again, Portalcraft is, oh wow, these are fast picks. Portalcraft is probably one of the most consistent and strongest decks in this format.
Especially now, right?
Right, exactly.
They have whereas we lost Wonderland Dreams, now they have approximately 3 expansions to work with in terms of card pool, and then with the way that Puppet has changed over the course of the past few months, right? It's a lot easier to form a consistent base with this kind of a Portalcraft deck structure.
Well, Portalcraft has, I think, all of its cards in because they were introduced in Chronogenesis.
Sure. So
they have their access to the entire breadth of cards, and it's still less than the other classes. And that's actually better in a format
because
like
you're gonna get you're more likely to get the ones that you want as a result.
And I think Portalcraft in general, their card pool has a lot of strong cards in order to get them to be able to compete with the other classes because they have less cards. I think that the individual power level of each of their cards is better. So in Take-Two, they have easy access to a lot of their good synergies and a lot of their good, just individually strong cards as well. And the mini expansion also added a bunch of strong cards to Portalcraft as well.
Sure.
That new card, Kukuru, the new gold card for Portalcraft, is super strong in Take-Two because it can remove enemy followers for free if you get the stick. So looks like he's picking relatively fast here, going left there.
Yeah, has a good idea what he's looking for.
I think Portalcraft is one of these classes that the players really have a lot of experience with because, again, they have most of the cards in the... I mean, they have all of the cards in the pool, so they know usually what to pick for.
You go left or right here?
Oh, that is tough. I think...
I'm torn between Zwei and Silva, obviously, right? But...
I think going left was the right choice there because Morton is actually pretty bad in Take-Two. Like, you don't really want to be spending an Evolve on that card, and if you're not spending the Evolve on that card, it's an understated 4-drop.
Sure.
So going for Zwei there, which is a really good Rush card as well, and Rush is very valuable in Take-Two because you want to be saving those Evolve points because you can't build an optimized deck. It's better to have those resources available to you.
This is my favorite game type, actually. I like because it's just it's so much. It's a lot of chaos and a lot of thinking on your feet, being able to come up with strategies with decks that aren't, again, like you said, aren't exactly optimized in a lot of cases, but being able to see those interact. Remember last time for the Don't Break 9 Take-Two Cup, Mr. Full Moon came out, twirled his mustache, took home a win. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like with this game type, you see a lot of fun. Right.
That's the best part of the game type is that you get to see all these cards that don't usually see play, start winning tournaments, and you're like, huh. And then that actually helps you rethink some of these cards. Like, can this fit in a constructed deck? Like, I've seen that happen before.
Yeah. Is this card that, for the most part, is useless?
Right.
Is this a viable tech option against this kind of strategy? Right.
People could just be sleeping on.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. So it looks like we're about to go into this game here again. This is Echai versus Kiao, I think you said.
Kiao.
Really, basically unknown names. We haven't seen them at all. Getting into the top 8. So.
But that's what happens out here in Southeast Asia, man. You saw it a couple weeks ago, Shadowverse World Circuit event in Singapore.
That's true.
You guys let a fighting game player take your Shadowverse spot. What the hell is wrong with you guys?
You're still running on that high, huh?
Oh, I'm definitely. I was hyped. I was very excited. I'll put it that way in my chair. That was really cool to watch.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people expected him to run through there and take that spot. But
apparently he's just really good at Shadowverse.
He's not good at Shadowverse. Yeah? He's not good at fighting games. He's good at games.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I
That's
thought you were throwing shade at him for a second.
No, hardly. That's a special kind of player. You gotta understand.
All right, looks like Kiao again. We saw him pick that Portalcraft here, and Echai going with Runecraft, and I think Runecraft actually got a huge buff in Take-Two because of the new cards it got. Particularly, it got a lot of burn cards in the mini expansion and in Brigade of the Sky in general. But notably, Abyss Summoner and Burgeoning Genius are super good in Take-Two for Runecraft because the condition on those cards is that once you get to 20 cards or below in your deck, they have this crazy effect. And in Take-Two, you start with only 30 cards.
Yeah, you start with 30.
So it's super easy to get those effects off, and then suddenly, you know, on turn 7, they're getting a 6/6 and a 4/4 Storm out on the board, and you're like, oh, wow. Looks like Rune is just good in Take-Two now, and
so
I agree.
So unless they run the game in the first 10 turns, which isn't, I mean, it can happen, but it's not too likely given how unoptimized decks are going to be in this format. All of a sudden, you're going to have to deal and juggle with those effects that I think a lot of people may not be prepared for.
Absolutely. But again, it's a double-edged sword, right? Because if you pick Runecraft hoping to get those really good cards, and they're not uncommon because they're silver, so they show up pretty often. But if you don't get them, it can get pretty rough if you're playing Runecraft. Without those cards, I think Runecraft, while better than before, is still kind of rocky in the Take-Two aspect. Speaking of rocky, Echai has these Beast-Face Mages here getting him Earth Essences, so it looks like he built his deck pretty Earthright heavy, and we see the Cagliostro, one of the new cards from the set in hand as well.
Yeah.
Really good in Take-Two because on turn 8 you can regain an evolution point back. And we've talked about how important evolution points are in Take-Two in general. So it's just another tool that Runecraft got to boost them a little bit in Take-Two when previously they were one of the worst classes to pick in this format. Wow.
Right now, yeah, gunshots to the face.
Kiao is going aggressive. Just hit him in the face. Can I just say how unfair it seems that Portalcraft has all these cards that have guns and everyone else is running around?
Yeah, I mean, you gotta imagine a lot of people have been watching CNN lately. A lot of American politics on their mind, just running around, just shooting people in the. Like, what is going on here?
Cal is just exercising his constitutional right. There's nothing wrong with that.
My man is definitely bearing arms out here. He's definitely bearing arms.
Moving on. Cal does have the answer to this 5-1 though, and this is why Portalcraft is really strong in the format, because Puppet, even if you don't have the Puppet synergy cards, Puppets are just a really good tool to answer the board.
Yeah.
And answering the board is the name of the game in Take-Two, because again, you can't really tailor your deck to get all these combo decks off, so really, oftentimes, you're going to win by just having the better board.
High emphasis on value, right?
Absolutely.
Value on the field, and then those puppets are really good for just being able to eliminate that.
Right. Because you can't assemble these combos out of hand, because you can't build your deck that way. So really, it's all about individually good, strong cards that you're playing on the board, and that's why Puppet is really strong in this format, because you get to control the board really effectively.
I'm going to have to run the Evo point on this Goblin Mount over here, run it over the Beast Face.
Looks like it. I don't know why he's so afraid of this 2-2 when he already had a pretty big board in the way, but I guess he just wanted a awkward, like, roadblock for Echai to deal with. Now this is a huge body that Echai is feeling pretty pressured to deal with himself.
Yeah, that on turn 5, he's likely going to have to invest in an Evo point in order to go over, right?
Absolutely. He does have the perfect answer here. Class President Hannah evolving over this.
I'd vote for her, man.
Yeah, these Mysteria cards, like Hannah especially, are really good in Take-Two. You get those missiles for free. So again, value.
Sure. That's been it's been the name of the game for in Take-Two for a long while, right?
Oh yeah. I was interested in seeing why Cal is so eager to spend that evolve point in that last turn. I think it's kind of getting him, like, it's biting him. Now he has to spend another evolve point to deal with the 6-1. And he has like some cards in hand that value evolve points, like in the Lord of Mystery, so ignore Mystery. So I was interested to see. Maybe he was a bit quick on the gun with those evolve points, trying to get it.
No pun intended, right?
It's always intended. It's always intended. I'm just that clever.
So let's see, bouncing back to Echai side. Pretty sizable hand here. What is it? What do you think are his best options going into turn 6 here to be able to deal with this Vanguard and 2/2 piece?
Looks like he's going to just go with the draw here. So opting not to
take your draw. Yeah, take your draw. See what you get.
I think he wants to kind of thin his deck a little bit. If he was able to draft the Burgeoning Geniuses and those Abyss Summoners, he wants to thin his deck so he can draw those cards, because those are your power plays. Of course, that's on the assumption that he did get those. Oh, that's pretty strong. Black Witch again, another new card for Runecraft that really helps you control the board in Take-Two. Not really seen him constructed, but again, lots of boons to Runecraft and Take-Two.
Beauty of Take-Two, you get to see a lot of those cards that don't get so much shine otherwise.
And honestly, I think that they printed some of these cards specifically to help Rune out in Take-Two. Like Anna is really good removal in Take-Two, but in constructed it doesn't really fit the Runecraft's combo or anything.
Okay, interesting little tinfoil hat theory there.
It's already, come on. How is that a tinfoil hat theory? The Runecraft is weak in Take-Two, so maybe they gave him a little boost.
You think they're just like little Goombas in the back closet, in the broom closet of side games, just like we gotta help out Rune and Take Two, man.
Yeah, man. I mean, I wouldn't call them Goombas. I would call them game designers, but it's just a difference in how you call them, I guess.
They got big heads and they walk sideways, man. Mysterious knowledge now.
Yeah. He's getting those Mysteria cards. Yeah. Again, see, playing a Mysteria card while you have Hannah, you get the Mysterian right, which is absolutely insane. Because I think it's deal 3 damage and summon a 3/3 with Mysterian right. So it's huge value. So that Hannah is one of the best things you have to get.
Gets the board piece to protect her as well.
Kiao has a much better board here, but he's also running out of fuel a little bit. I mean,
not a little bit. I mean, he's definitely got a big card deficit.
The one thing that helps him out here, though, is that Lowain. Lowain is an amazing card in Take Two because it gives you another card that gives you another card that gives you another card. Again, it's very valuable.
Now, how often do you see this dude come out?
Yeah,
in ring rotation, right?
And now he's a buff Tartman.
Look at those legs.
Yeah. It's a little awkward because that Zwei kind of just runs over that, right?
Oh, I thought you were going in a different direction. I was like, a little bit awkward because, yeah, I look at it and I feel a certain way inside, right?
I mean, you didn't have to put me on blast in front of all these people.
No, right? Man, hey, look, man, you like what you like, bro. Nobody's here to judge. I'm not here to judge you, man. I'm here to support you. All right. So how do these trades work out? Let's see.
Well, he has the puppet room, which gives him a lot of points over time, so that might be one of the things that he's considering here.
Again, like you said, being able to recycle the value out of those puppet pieces like that. Very, very strong asset for Portal Craft in general. In rotation as well, obviously right now, right? We're seeing a huge surge of puppet Portal in rotation play, but also in Take Two, as we mentioned earlier.
And actually using the Hamlin to clone the Tomoe here, and Tomoe is going to give you a 9-drop. So, like we were saying that Kiao maybe was running a little bit low on cards, but with the Lowain, he just basically has infinite cards, actually, so it's fine. Turned out that way. Or not infinite, but like a lot of resources. Because now he has 2 3/3s that both give him a 9-drop off the back of it. So he's going to go on for a while, even though he has less cards in hand than...
Yeah, and being protected behind the ward, too.
Like I said, Runecraft has a lot of burn tools now, but when they're still at 18, it's a lot less good. And there's the deal 3. Good play. Now, Echa has that Keelan in hand, but that's a card that's not as good as it could be if you don't have the evolve, right? Because you want to get that free damage in. But Echa kind of spent it all, and he's really looking for a Burgeoning Genius if he has it to get the points back. If not, then he might have a hard time dealing with the amount of pressure.
Yeah, and he got down so early. He got down so early in the match anyway for it to really be effective here.
Yeah. I think Echa might have been banking on drawing these really powerful cards that he just hasn't picked out of the game yet.
It happens sometimes.
And now he's having a bit of trouble dealing with the Kiao has all the resources in hand. Really efficient.
Right through the ward, strike
Face.
Yep.
He's not afraid. I mean, he's at 18 defense.
When you have that 18-6 lead like that, you smack him in the face for, just continue to bring them down little by little like that. Extend your lead, extend that pressure. I mean, you put them in a worse position before, right? Now they have to make some. I mean, look, he only has 2/2s and 1-drops on the field, but that's meaningful at this stage.
There's that Abyss Summoner coming down. That powerful card
finally comes down.
So that's what he was trying to dig for this entire game, and he got it really late, unfortunately.
That brother eats a lot of protein. You can tell, just look at him.
And he's back to full health. That's the power of it. You can use it to trade, and then now how are you going to deal with this, right?
Let's see.
Like, even if Kiao plays the human pyramid attack and the puppet running into the 6/6, he's still left with nothing. That's quite a board to deal with. And all of a sudden, it's back on Echai's side of the board here because he drew that Abyss Summoner. Again, like, super powerful card in this format. Kind of meta-breaking in this format for Runecraft. One of their most powerful tools. Designed by a Goomba, as you would put it.
There's a few cards like that. There's definitely a few cards out there like that.
This is a tough turn, so I don't begrudge Kiao for taking the shot. I think he's going to play the 9-drop, trade over the 4/4 probably, and 1 into the 5/1. Looks like it.
Yep.
Still though, Echai is still at 4 defense is not a lot, is it? Compared to 20. If you think about it, really. Like, I'm not a mathematician, but that seems like it would be the case. So sometimes, a lot of the time, the best defense is a good offense. You have to force them to trade into your stuff, and they're not hitting you. So I think Kiao does have quite a bit of time here to try and assemble the pieces he needs. But if he
be able to get those last few hits in, right? But
that ward's going to help Echai buy a bit more time. Seems pretty good. Play your 2 5-cost cards with your 10 play points.
Yeah, you have to be able to get rid of that as soon as possible just because of the effect, right?
I think for Kiao, it's going to have to be the second human pyramid attack. I don't really see any other ways to deal with this.
Yeah, you got it.
But this is not a good play for Kiao in general, because human pyramid attack is a neutral. That Altaya is just going to smack it for free and still survive. Because Altaya's effect is that it deals 4 damage to a neutral, the enemy neutral follower before it takes any damage in return. So this can be taken out for free, essentially. That's painful.
And then another 6 to the head.
And the game really changed when you drew that Abyss Summoner. It was all in Kiao's favor, and then suddenly it just turned
It wasn't even, yeah, the Abyss Summoner was only out there for like 1 or 2 turns, right?
That's the power of the card.
Yeah, just the power of dropping him on the field.
And I think that, and also at this stage of the game, Echai has been drawing more impactful cards than Kiao has. Kiao's been drawing a lot of these cheap guys, but at this stage of the game, you want your gigantic bodies, right? But that Captivating Conductor going to come down to deal with 2 things at a time. It's pretty good. Is there a way to... Oh, interesting. I think there was actually a way to clear that 4-4, right?
That's what I thought as well.
If you played the Puppet Room? No, maybe not. It was close.
Wow, Echai though.
It's like I was saying, that Abyss Summoner is crazy tempo game. And then overall in the format, Runecraft also got a lot of burn tools. So the thing that finished the game at the end there was Chain Lightning.
The
dealing
classic
damage to face is pretty good. If you reduce your opponent to 0 defense, you win the game. So, works out pretty well.
So thanks to you guys for tuning in to, again, the Southeast Asia Oceania Shadowverse Open Brigade of the Skies Take 2 Cup. You just saw what game 1 of our first match between Echai and Kiao going off. And I guess the kind of the interesting thing about this, so now we're in what? The latter half of the year now. We're hitting to the tail end of our leaderboard ranking events, right?
Yep.
Our Shadowverse Open Southeast Asia Oceania ranking events. And the leaderboard is in kind of an interesting place right now. See, of course, Southeast Asia Oceania, despite the 200-man Shadowverse World Circuit event that they had a couple weeks ago, we don't have that many point opportunities, right? Only one a month. You know, Take 2 Cup, Rotation Cup, and an Unlimited Cup for each set so far. So if you look at our current standings compared to maybe the Europe and the Pan American standings, right? The differentials is a lot smaller. It's it's a super close race. So look at this. Between 1st and 11th place, actually, less than 20 points separate them. With a big win from any of these 11 players, we could have a really big board shakeup. And today, actually, looking at what we have here, you see BMA at the top. He's still in this. First place with 61 points, and he actually has an opportunity. If he's able to clutch out a win today, he actually locks himself for that top 2 leaderboard spot and Contenders Cup spot.
There's only one tournament left after this one.
After this one, and the thing is, if he gets first place, because Astalos is out, because Glow is out, because Malsama is out for today, Goms, Ridipone, and Dreamlife are the only other competitors still in this tournament brackets for this top 8. If BMA is able to take this win today, and it looks like if he were to win, he would have to get it done over Goms, who is the next highest placer that's still in top 8 for today. If he's able to get the win today, BMA would lock himself. He would put himself out of reach of being able of getting knocked out of those first 2 spots.
And they're on the same side of a bracket, BMA and Goms.
That's why, yeah.
Like, on the way to finals, that game might be another game.
It very well could be, yeah.
Like, that's a really high-pressure game there. Because, again, like you said, if BMA wins that, he's locked for the Contenders Cup slot. Yeah,
you also got to talk about, again, Dreamlife, Goms, and Ridipone. These are 3 players that are still in this top 8 for this Take 2 Cup here. And they're also within striking range, right, of getting into the... Astalos actually finished today, I believe, 33rd from 33rd place to 64th, so he got himself 2 points. So he's actually sitting at 61 points right now. But if you look at Goms, Ridipone, Dreamlife, they are all within striking distance of getting into that 2nd place spot. So now let's take a look at our draft going into this next match.
All right, so Echai versus Kiao yet again. This time we're looking at Echai's draft here. It looks like he got the Portal Craft this time. Again.
Lucky.
Yeah, right? Like, when the Portal Craft shows up, you're like, oh, that's what I'm going to take most of the time. Again, consistency is king.
Yeah, especially compared to when what we were saying, you know, in terms of like, remember during the Chronogenesis Take 2 Cup, right? Maybe it felt a little bit more awkward at that point in time. Whereas now, like you said, there's more tools. You have higher chances of getting those tools that you want, that you're looking for. It's a lot easier to kind of create a strong Take 2 deck.
Right, and because they have access to their entire breadth of cards, and it's still a lower pool than the other classes.
Yeah,
those synergies that you want are easier to assemble.
Yeah, and it's going to be that way for another expansion as well.
Yeah,
yeah,
more or less. Just because when you have so many cards and a lot of them maybe don't fit together so well, for the other classes it's quite difficult to assemble those combos. But for Portalcraft, it's pretty simple. Go for that Genesis of Legend there. I assume you take left here, unless you're feeling real nice. Yep. Basilius is really good in this format if you can get the evolve off on it. So
yeah, let's take it right.
I'm actually interested to see if any of the new mini expansion cards pop up in this tournament. I want to see how those affect the change up here, because it really only came out just a couple of days ago. So I want to see if the players kind of got used to the new cards yet, or and there's one right there, Kukuru. Does he take it? Nah, it goes right.
Opts for consistency, I guess.
I think because that last pick there, the No Potent Entity, is not a really good card to take to at all. It's usually just a card that does nothing, and you don't want any card that does anything.
That's the other thing too, man. You're picking pairs, right? You're not picking singles. You have to consider what the other thing you're getting too, right?
Exactly.
Is it worth this one pick, or like you have to evaluate it as a package almost a lot of times.
Yeah, that's one of the more interesting dynamics of Take 2. Like, do you want to take a great card
with a really bad one?
Card?
Yeah.
Or two okay cards. And a lot of the time, the two okay cards win out, because if you draw that bad card, you just lose a lot of the time, because you're one card short.
Yeah, especially given some situations, how cruel this game can be, right? When you need that one card and you get that other card that you got because you wanted to make that one pick. Whereas, you know, in a lot of cases, like you said, if you would have picked the more consistent package, right, you might have had a better chance.
I mean, unless you really believe in the heart of the cards and drawing the right card off the top.
I am not that kind of guy. But anyway, Echai and Kyaw going into the second game here. They're set here in top 8 for, again, the Southeast Asia Oceania Shadowverse Open Brigade of the Skies Take 2 Cup. Let's see what it looked like.
Again, these games are pretty high stakes here. This is a single elimination, best of 3 tournament, and after each game, they redraft. So you redraft for each game in the set, but the trade-off is that it's single elim. So if you're out, you're out. So it really is going to favor the better drafters in this format.
So here we go. Portalcraft versus Portalcraft, the new class.
I mean, this is the same way in rotation as well.
Yeah, that's why I said that, man. It's the new classic. Portalcraft mirrors, let's go.
Portalcraft is just very good right
There's
now.
just stuff like look at the cards, man. There's just like there's resonance. There's stuff spinning everywhere. Like this girl, she takes damage to her face, and she's got like random like just stuff behind her, just floating.
Oh yeah. I mean, Chaos kind of flexing here a little bit. He's got the alternate leader that he got from his pack as well. Echai is stuck with the default here.
So I like default. I rock the default.
Yeah?
Yeah, man. Got a good class.
Most players would agree that Echai has already taken sort of a moral defeat here, or a morale defeat here, because he got the less rare leader.
Nah, Echai, you good with it, man. You up in the set. You good with it. So here we go. Curse Stone out there. Bouncing it back to Echai. What are we looking at? Turn 4. We're going to put the Bear Puppeteer out there.
Yeah, you get the free puppet, so I think you just run things.
Absolutely.
Oh, actually, this is better, right? You just save it. The statue can't attack anyway unless it's evolved. And if you're going to make that play, then you're going to have to evolve this card that doesn't really have a huge impact. So I think Echai made the proper play there. Don't run into the 3/3 and just leave your board for them to deal with. And then maybe deal with it when you
force that investment on their side. If they want to invest an Evo point into getting rid of those two pieces like that, you know, like you said, that Wardstone piece is not so significant even post Evo, right? So like it's a pretty meaningful investment, and especially if you could take away that Evo point advantage right early on.
Yeah, because the evolution points are so valuable in this game, and I think that kind of shows Echai's experience there, because he just did that play immediately without even really thinking about it. He saw that there's no point evolving over this.
Ball's in your court.
Yeah. So now, what's Kyao's play this turn? He also has a Bear Puppeteer of his own. So he's just going to go for the Majesty Lion and play the Puppeteer as a 2-drop here. Just try and go as wide as possible. Make it hard for Echai to deal with the board here. But it's not too bad for Echai, because he can evolve something over the 3-3 and then run a puppet into that 4-1. And Kao should know this. Leaving a 1 defense guy up here might be not the wisest decision at this point in time. Because when you can play a 0 playpoint card to deal with your 2 playpoint card, that's probably a win.
Yeah, that's a good feeling if you're that guy, right?
Play the biggest guy with the amount of playpoints you have.
Just like you said. Evo went over the unidentified, over the ward stone.
Full clear here, I like that.
J2-2s, and then, yeah, there's the puppet. Clear the board. You still have a 5-5 piece out there like that?
How does Kao answer this, right? He doesn't really have any way to do anything right now.
Let's hold off.
Oh, there you go. He can just play the Enkidu now. Although he doesn't get the benefit from the Enkidu, because Enkidu, when its resonance, is when you get a free Gilgamesh, which is, again, value cards are important in this game mode. And now he doesn't really have any good plays here. He has to leave a 5-5 on board, which is painful. That's swing and face, right? You don't miss 5 damage to face. Not when the only thing on the other side of the board is a 1-2, right? I'm not even convinced that you have to evolve over this 1-2 at all.
No,
I'd go face.
No, just go face, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Well, he opts to with the Happy Pig, but...
This is gonna really bite us, because we see that Basilius in Kale's hand already. And as we know, Basilius is he's one banishy boy. Everything's gonna go to the Shadow Dimension after this Basilius comes down on board.
Most of his board at this point.
Basically everything. Then just run the Basilius in. You have a 5-1 on board. I think that might have been an oversight on Echai's part then, to invest an evolve point like that. Now he's 1 evolve point down and has no board to speak of. Oof.
Not the best game. One more rock this Electro Magical Rhino.
Oh, it does have attack though, because he shoveled some artifacts in from turn 2 when he traded the Anchor Swordsman. Now Rhino is really powerful in Take 2. Like you were saying, Take 2 is a format about value. What could be more value than a rush card that gives you more rush cards, right?
Yeah, like you mentioned that earlier as well, right? The value of rush in this format is really, really strong.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, it's rough. Echai seemed like he had such a good lead, but then that Basilius just came around and turned things in a completely different direction. That's pretty good though.
Yeah, gonna opt for a defensive set here.
A lot of the time in Take 2, because you can't construct really fancy and colorful plays like you can in Constructed, because you can't build your deck that way, a lot of the times the proper option is just to do the strongest individual play. And here, the 8-drop that summons 2 things from his deck puts the most stats for the amount of money.
Again, that magic word, right? Value.
Mm-hmm.
We get multi-purpose pieces like that. All for 1 card.
Man, getting a Gilgamesh off of a bronze is so good, because that's a storm card as well. It can just like bamboozle people out of nowhere. So Kao, I think, is in a really favorable position here. Not only does he have a better board, he has the better hand, and he has cards that give him better tools than Echai gets. But again, it's anybody's game. Echai still could draw.
Don't count Echai out of it, especially after that first game, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And he could still draw all those rhinos that he put into his deck, which would help him fight for the board here. But we'll see. Playing the treasure map, seeing what you get out of the box. Pegasus Sculpture not very helpful.
Yeah, not what he's looking for at all.
Especially when you're at full defense anyway. Oh, this is tough. You really don't have any effective tools here. You just play cards. Now, that was an awkward turn. You couldn't deal with the board, leaving 4 damage up there and only developing a 2-2. But sometimes you just have to play the cards you're dealt, I guess.
I mean, that's Take 2.
I mean, that's literally card games now.
Yeah.
You play the cards that you're dealt. It's a turn of phrase, but it's also just an accurate description of what's going on.
I mean, that happens. I mean, how often does that happen in rotation too, right? You invest all these vials into this deck. Then you get to a turn sometimes where you don't have any of the tools that you're looking for. Sometimes you got to just make the best plays with what you have. So here we go. Gets one of those rhinos you were talking about.
That's going to help, but that's a big board he has to contend with, and there's more where that came from. Like, we saw the Enkidu pop off with that resonance, so Echai knows that in Kiao's hand is straight up a 5-attack storm that can just come and hit him out of nowhere. So he's probably watching his defense total extremely closely, and I think he's looking at his hand and he's disappointed that he can't really defend himself as much as he'd like to. Well, that's a big boy itself. Can run that into the 2-2. Just shy of being able to get over that 5-attack follow-on board, though. It's pretty rough. It's an interesting balance, right? If he played the Ancient Amplifier a turn earlier, the Rhino would have gotten a higher attack value and would have been able to hit the 5-6. But at the same time, shuffling more stuff into your deck means that maybe he wouldn't have drawn that Rhino that turn. So that's just one of the checks and balances for Portalcraft in this format. It's really tricky to see all the plays you can possibly get. And this is looking real rough. Rhino?
Yeah, it feels like the same turn over
and over again. Although, that Catalina is a huge pain, because that Rhino can't run over it, because Catalina can only take 3 damage at a time.
Yeah.
So it's protecting a pretty beefy body with that 5-1 as well. So I think this might just be it. He's dealing with nothing, and then Kiao plays Gilgamesh, and then everything goes face. Yeah, and that's exactly lethal, right?
I mean, that's lethal on board.
Yep. Just play the Gilgamesh, and then run it in. Can he see it, though? That's the question. Does he spot it? Ooh. You had it. You had it, man.
Oh,
I think he's a bit focused on the value game, right? He wants to get the, again, Luane is a really huge value tool, but he could have just ended the game there.
As someone who misses lethal quite often, that's painful. But he's still in it, right?
Yeah, he's still in it.
Able to go over this Rhino with the puppet?
Maybe he just forgot what Gilgamesh is. He hasn't seen that card in a long time.
That's true, yeah, right? Like, I mean, we've been talking about it so far, right? Sometimes bro, some of these cards you do not see in rotation format a lot.
Well, that's because Gilgamesh is also in a standard card. He's not been in rotation for all this time. And he's not played on Unlimited either. There's a card, you see it in your hand, you're like, what is this? I'm not going to read that.
And my man is just looking like the Safari Zone right now with these Rhinos.
Well, his deck is probably filled with Rhinos.
Yeah, he's got at least 9 stacked, right?
Yeah, but maybe he didn't miss lethal. Maybe it's just extended BM because he knew that he couldn't lose from that position. But come on, man. You play that 5 play point Storm card that deals 5 damage. I think you have been in a pretty okay position. And he still had the Evolve, too. Come on, please.
He got it.
He didn't even play it. I feel personally attacked. He got that card and he didn't even play it at the end. What's funny is that he actually played his turns in such a way that he would get the Gilgamesh off of Resonance. Like, he explicitly didn't play the Enkidu when it would have been the best play, just so that he could get the Gilgamesh, and then he didn't even play it in the entire game. So
but that's your man Kyo coming back here in this set. 1-1 tied up. You see what happens in this third game. And again, this is a single elimination tournament, guys, with a lot of points up for grabs. Big implications on this Southeast Asia Oceania leaderboard to see we'll see what happens in that Contenders Cup later this year, right?
Yeah, man. And the points matter a lot.
I keep saying later this year, man. It's coming up sooner than this is coming up very soon. It's like next month, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was gonna bring up, right? Like,
I'm saying, and you know we're programmed, right? We have the Chusan, put the cue card down. It's not later this year. It's next month. It's next month.
True. You have to remember how to say Southeast Asia Oceania Shadowverse Open.
Bro, that took like you remember the first day? That took like an hour. That took like an hour of rehearsal.
Oh yeah.
try if you're at home, try saying that 5 times fast. Southeast Asia Oceania Shadowverse Open, Dawnbreak 9 Edge, Chronogenesis, Take 2 Cup, Unlimited Cup. It's a mouthful.
If you can say it 5 times fast, you can come here and take my job. Like, because I can't do that.
But anyway, guys, hopefully you enjoyed watching, again, the Shadowverse World Circuit event a couple weeks ago in Singapore.
Oh, yeah, that was a lot of fun.
And then now we got this Game 3 of the set between Echai and Kyo.
Portalcraft yet again. Here we go. When it comes up, you pick it. You can't fault him. There's a lot on the line, like we were saying. These points, man, if you make a really good points finish, you get to that Contenders Cup in, I was going to say later in this year again, because I'm programmed, like you said. But we're coming up real soon, and the winner of that Contenders Cup gets to go to the World Grand Prix at the end of the year for $1 million grand prize. And actually, the full prize pool is revealed now on the World Grand Prix website. It's $1 million for first place. And I think it's 250,000 for second. That's a huge delta.
That's a big delta, but
that's still a lot of cash.
That's still a lot, yeah.
And that's USD as well. So that's a lot of prizes. So, again, this is intense.
Good bit of prestige too, man. Being able to travel to Japan, go to the World Grand Prix event like that. That's
we saw it happen last year as well, where Akamara Red got there. He made a name for himself, and now all the Japanese fans were cheering for Akamara Red instead of their hometown heroes. Yeah, they were just cheering for Aka instead.
They love it. They love him over there, man.
Oh yeah,
they love him. Yeah, gotta give props to Panda Global Gaming, making a really good pickup on him, right?
Oh yeah.
It's nice to see some of these bigger orgs getting involved, taking notice.
And they picked up Zerofine as well, who came in
second place at the Singapore World Circuit.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah, for sure, man. That was exciting to watch. I have to imagine there's a lot of bitter Shadowverse players out there right now that Shen came here and took that spot. That is, I think for a lot of them, he kind of came off the radar. But to me, I knew he was at least Grandmaster rank a couple months ago. I knew he'd been grinding this game for a good while. When we would consistently see him in the entrance list of some of these tournaments, right? But maybe he wasn't able to play that weekend, or maybe he just missed top 8 or whatever. I'm not gonna say I'm not surprised, but like when it happened, I was like, I could see it happen.
You feel a bit vindicated because you know him.
Oh, absolutely. yeah, for sure.
It was one of those things that we were talking about on that cast as well. I think Bless brought this up, that because he has so much experience in tournaments, he's not going to be feeling that decision fatigue. Or
in particular, offline events. Offline events in general, right? And then when you're used to playing like fighting game tournaments, especially some of the bad ones out there, right? You're used to having to play pools at 8 a.m. and then having to hang around until 10 p.m. When you get used to that, what? Don't laugh at me, Chusai. You know that's true. Don't laugh at me. Nope. No. I'm not saying the names of any of those bad tournaments. I'm just saying. Look, baby, you get up for 8 a.m. pools and then you got to play until 10 p.m., man. You get used to, again, that fatigue. But let's take a look at this game 3 between Echai and Kyo. Go into it.
Whoa, Kyo picking up Swordcraft.
Oh, with the big body, too. Latham in the house.
That's right. That mouth breather Latham. Look at him. Inhaling heavily all the time. He needs that oxygen to support his large body. But regardless of that, he does have a pretty good curve here.
They were putting protein shakes in his baby formula. They were just, they were emptying just like raw muscle milk.
Yeah, you can really
I use Cellucor. I use Cellucor personally. So 25 grams a scoop, man.
I'm a Nitrotech guy myself, but that's neither here nor there. Anyway, you can tell in his new card as well, Latham is like thick as a brick, man, and playing him as leader, I think it's intimidating.
That brother eats lambs for breakfast.
He goes out to the pasture and just picks one up, inhales it. But it's interesting that he picked Swordcraft here because you've kind of seen Swordcraft fall off a little bit. We're used to casting Swordcraft like for the past 6 months now. Swordcraft has been kind of the top dog in a lot of these formats, both Take 2, Rotation, and Limited. And I think overall it's just sort of falling off because the other classes got better tools than them so far.
Yeah, I mean, what's been on the rise, right? Forest, Tenko Shrine. Obviously, Puppet Portal. Those have kind of been taking the limelight, I think, into where we're used to seeing Sword excel so much, right?
And nowadays,
especially towards the middle part of this year.
Right, yeah. Exactly. And nowadays in Take 2, Swordcraft has actually sort of lost these classes that were traditionally bad in Take 2. Like, Dragon is now really good in Take 2. Runecraft is now really good in Take 2. These classes that Swordcraft would typically eat for breakfast in this format are starting to come up and rise up against them. We'll come back into the game here. That's a heck of a board. Like, we're talking about how much Swordcraft has fallen off, and now look at the board he's developing here. It's the Caster's Curse.
Got the Angel's Amulet buff, and then, Ward Piece followed by a 2-2 and a 1-1. It's only turn 4. Man. He's already got a stack board.
Oh, yeah. Although this Cruel Puppet Master does help. Getting another puppet here, being able to run 2 of those into the lane, at least. Again, Puppet's probably the best tool for Portal Craft.
Yeah, then he's able to run over the 2-2.
But here's the weakness we always see with Swordcraft, and I think at least the Tomoe is going to help mitigate that. But generally, in Swordcraft, you get going real fast, but then you also burn out real fast as well.
It can happen.
What's the play here? You just play the Bear Knight because it's the biggest thing on board, or? I think Swordcraft, one of the strengths in Take 2 is like we were saying, they have rush for days, so they don't have to be too conservative with their evolve points. They can just toss them out there.
Yeah.
So I don't hate seeing the Bear Knight all over this, but this actually does more damage.
Yeah, gonna get the White General, give the buff to the soldier.
Okay, saving the evolve here. That's interesting how you want to be so conservative with your evolve points, especially with a Zeta in hand, which you don't really need to evolve because it has rush. So interesting line of play. I think Cow might start to be start to play the long game here.
Yeah, you mentioned Zeta too, right? She comes down, she has Rush. Then Beatrix comes down, she has Storm as well.
Yeah.
Like, again, high value pieces with a lot of Rush, a lot of Storm. Again, you see, you have to imagine he's at least a little bit nervous, right? Because he's down. Obviously, you know, he's down 1 Evo point naturally just because of going first. Against this Portal deck that he's seen a couple times now that has been doing pretty good damage. You have to imagine maybe a little bit of nervousness, maybe a little bit passive at the beginning. We'll see what happens.
I think it's a bad matchup for Swordcraft, frankly, because Portalcraft has so many tools to deal with the board, and Swordcraft is all about
getting the board, getting that control.
That's their entire class identity, mostly, is to be on the board. And when you're Portalcraft and you have Basilius in particular.
And here comes this dude, man, Nicholas.
This guy is so good. Nicholas, he knows what's up, man. When he's like a regular nerd when he comes down, then he evolves into a Power Ranger, and then he summons a robot.
I'm not a fan.
He's living in like 3018. We're here in 2018. I don't know what to do about him.
Okay, gotta wait a couple more turns for that chromatic duel to become really, really powerful. But in the meantime, yeah, turn 6. I have to imagine you bring down Zeta.
It's tough because if you Zeta here, Zeta gets destroyed, right? So I think the better play is to play the Elsum. I think that's Elsum in his hand. It's a 2-1 Storm. Run into the 6-2.
Oh, run into the 6-2
and then yeah, there you go. So out comes the Elsum. And then you can even play the Tomoe, although it's not super good right here, but it's probably the best thing on curve. Unless you want to play the 2-2 Bear Knight, but yeah, it's weird.
I mean, what is the Bear Knight really doing outside of just soaking up some damage from puppets potentially?
Yeah. But at the same time, like the Elsum is a rush, so maybe you want to save that for something to run into. But looks like he's just going to play the most expensive thing here. Usually a good plan is just to play the most expensive thing you can.
Sure. I mean, that's Swordcraft 1-on-1, right? If it's glowing, just drag it onto the board.
Yeah. Well, you were a Swordcraft main, right? So you would know.
What? I still am. just click on the glowing cards, man.
That's why people like the class so much. Speaking of glowing cards, Echai has a breadth of things to play here.
That's the big difference here, right? Whereas at the top, like we're joking, right, about just click the glowing card. You definitely cannot do that at the bottom of the screen. Echai, of course, playing Portal Graph. A lot of we talk about that all year. It feels like, right? When you play this kind of class in rotation, it's very easy to make misplays.
Oh yeah.
It's very difficult to play this deck in this class in an optimized fashion. It feels like even now we still see misplays that happen all the time.
Oh yeah, it's true. I mean, even in the World Circuit, there were a couple misplays using Portalcraft, and I think more with Portalcraft than any other class for that tournament. I think people, it's a tough class to optimize and really get all your plays right. Just because there's so much to do, like with your puppets and what have you, you know?
Even the order you play things in, there's a lot to take into account.
And like, do you want to save your Sylvas for the Accelerator, or do you want to use it as an ambush follower? There's a lot of choices to make. And I really like that, because it ups the skill ceiling of the deck, but it can work to the player's detriment when they're trying to win a tournament, that's for sure. There goes one Evolve. Doesn't feel good using an Evolve and then not having a thing survive after.
Just to be able to trade into the 5-4 like that. But
what can you do? You can't leave a 5-4
yeah.
up. Is it time for the Rhino? I don't think he shuffled anything in yet, so the Rhino's 0 attack right now, so maybe that's not the best play.
Puppets just run into the Bear Knight?
Looks like it. Actually, it's interesting.
So yeah, as we said before, he's just going to soak up some of this puppet damage.
Maybe just play a thing. The Rhino is a really good tool if you have stuff in your deck, but if you don't, it's a 0-7 rush. 0 is not a very good number when you're trying to attack something.
It doesn't do too much damage, as you would imagine.
Last time I checked, I don't think the fundamental rules of math have changed. But you know, Chaos still has his Evolve point here. That Rampaging Mammoth might look pretty attractive right now. Although, it's a consideration to save your Evolve point to run over the Robomii that's going to pop next turn. Because a 5-5 ward is pretty beefy, and you want to get over that, but...
Yeah. I think that's the real threat. That's the real reason why you hate Nick, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because he brings out that thing.
And on 8, it summons it immediately as well. So that's a big threat. So I really like this play. The Zeta runs over the mystery alien guy. I forgot his name. I'm not going to lie.
Unidentified subject.
That's it. Mystery alien guy. and it lives to tell the tale. So he has more cards in hand to play after that. He can choose to play like the Grand Auction or something. I don't think it's really worth it though. Just pass at this point.
He does look like the bad guy from Stranger Things, doesn't he?
He does. I haven't seen Stranger Things, so I couldn't tell you.
Never mind. Don't worry about it.
Sorry. I've had no time. I wish I could sit around and watch TV, but listen, life is hard.
There's the Robo-Me pop.
Here's a Mammoth on Echai's side. Really good evolve here. If this hits both the followers, I think it has to, right? I think Rampaging Mammoth only hits followers, so this is a really good play. That makes her a gigantic body, and then running into it. And of course, Rampaging Mammoth with the evolve effect deal 2 damage to a random enemy follower 2 times. So that deals with the entire board there. Although now Echai is out of evolves though, and Kiao is still saving his one for a rainy day.
Able to go over the road, and he still has a one health on it. See what Echai's response is.
Can I just say that these ramparts that Kiao played has really been doing work. Like these 1-2s have actually been trading really well into Echai's board.
That's the thing, yeah, they're just 1-2 pieces, but the way he's been using them, the way he's been applying them, constant board presence, and then just always being able to play them on really good trades.
It's a card that you never see in Constructed, but here, again, because it has so much value, it ends up doing a lot.
Recycled value, too.
That's right. Ooh. That might be necessary to deal with that 7-5. I don't know how else you're dealing with that. Yeah, so I like using the Seraphic Blade on the 7-5, then the Hemera, into the Mammoth, then trade, then leave the Tartman up maybe? I don't know, there might be a better way to do that. It's a bit of a trickier turn. Yeah, looks like the Hemera is going in. Is he going to trade into the Mammoth or the 2-2? Yeah, here we go. So it looks like he's going to do the play that I pointed out there.
Then running into the Mammoth.
And then maybe evolve here. But I don't think it's worth it to evolve. Maybe it is. Yeah, okay, he's going to
go face.
Oh, he is going to evolve here.
All right, yeah. Going to invest in the Knight here.
Well, he does have a lot of Storm in hand. We got the Juliet, we got the Beatrix, so I don't think he's too stressed about being able to make proactive plays. Out comes the Rhino. Does it have any attack? Oh, this helps, I guess. You never. It's always funny to see a 0-7 coming down, though. That's not something you usually want to happen. But that new card, buffing it by 1 attack there. I believe her name is Jessica. Now, for 10 play points here, what are you thinking? When you see 10, you see the 10 cost Beatrix, you kind of want to slam it down, right? But looks like he does.
Well, he opts to. Yeah, there you called it.
It goes really well over the 1-4 as well. You know what's an unexpectedly scary card in Take 2 that doesn't really see play in Constructed is that new card that Swordcraft got in the mini expansion there, the Sky Gladiator. It makes it so that your cards can't be attacked, your officers that come into play can't be attacked, and it also can't be attacked by itself. So if your opponent can't deal with your board and you can just keep hitting them in the face, that's probably a pretty good recipe for success.
Now you see he brings down Magnus to be able to try to protect creatures. Running the Cogs now. Gets his draw.
That's a pretty good draw. Like the Silver Cog Spinner is going to restore play points as well. So we can play a lot of cards out of his hand here.
Gets a puppet off the junk too.
It's pretty important for this to hit the 4-1, otherwise that's a lot of damage you're taking if you don't want to be. But now we're seeing that Echai is kind of running out of stuff, right?
He doesn't have too much more to work with.
He plays the Artifact Squadron, meaning that's probably going to be putting either, I think it's either Mystics, Ancients, or Radiants into his deck every turn. So he's just looking for more good stuff to play. I think he realizes that he's running out of fuel. But whoa! The Burly Axial just denying that right away.
He just didn't care.
I think Kiao just has all the answers, man. I think Kiao is feeling pretty good about himself right now.
Yeah, now he's starting to build up the board presence too. There's another Nick coming out.
Man, I think this is straight up the caster's curse coming into play. The beginning of the game, we were all talking
That's
about
why you gotta just shut up.
how
sometimes.
Swordcraft was going downhill, and now look at where we are now, up against Portalcraft, the best class in the format probably.
This is
Just
the lesson.
dominating.
This is the lesson you have to learn. Sometimes just shut the hell up.
So, I mean, I kind of like it though. I feel kind of drunk with power sometimes when it happens. You know, I'm like, I did this.
You don't understand the power of your own influence. Now look, Nick and roping me now out there.
Ooh.
But yeah, Kyaw just has just the right tools to be able to go over this.
Off the top. Feels pretty good, man. But is it the right play? Let's see. You can... Yeah, here we go. Here comes the Sky Gladiator. And now the Valse can't be targeted, right? So you Valse for the Fatal Spell Bomb.
Yep.
You run a dude into the 5/5. You clear it with the 1-cost spell, and then you just send it upstairs. Or you could use the 3/3 to trade into the 4/3. Either you want to go face or you want to play for the board here. So I think you have to run the Flail Knight in here, probably. Then you can Fatal Spellbomb the 5/5. Other option that's pretty interesting is that you can run the 3/3 into the 5/5, the 1/2 into the 5/2, the Flail Knight, and then yeah, that's pretty cute. Let's not do that. Let's just do it the straightforward way. I agree with this.
He gets his full clear. Knight can still smack the face for 1. You still have a pretty buff-looking board there.
Oh yeah.
Okay, working to banish on the Sky Gladiator.
Ooh, that's a good card to draw too. That Rhino.
Maybe you should help him out next turn.
Interesting.
Still has enough hit points to be able to run the Automaton Knight.
You can't run the puppet into the 2/1 though because of that Sky Gladiator's effect. That's the power of it, man. Now it just made the puppets a lot worse against that Valse. Now the Valse gets to either do a really nice trade or go straight to the face. Tycoon coming out here. That's a lot of cards to draw. Tycoon again, another card that we don't see at all.
Yeah, do not see in competitive play.
I was trying to predict, like when Tycoon was revealed, I was predicting that it would be pretty good in aggro sword. Just because it draws you so many cards and it's a pretty good body, and it's also an on-curve 2/2. But yeah, it didn't work out that way. I think because mid-range was a lot stronger at the time. But hey, in Take 2, we're talking about how swords sometimes runs out of fuel. That's the perfect tool to get you back in the game. Draw until you have 5 cards in hand.
Just when
No
Kyaw's hand was starting to thin out a little bit, Tycoon comes in there, gives him a lot more options to be able to work with over the next few turns.
Especially when some of his cards are just like straight up bad. Like that Grand Auction in his hand, I assume that must have been taken with a much better card.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? Here comes the Rhino boy. Ooh, just not quite enough. But he has a puppet in hand at least to deal with this.
Just to finish the job.
It looks like he's bringing it back, you know? Echai seemed like he was in such a weak position this whole game. Now he has a freaking Noah in his hand and he's generating puppets too.
Well, the other thing too is look at the card counts on the decks.
Oh yeah.
Kyaw actually is kind of in a dangerous spot. He's got to be able to close this out in the next few turns. Where is he? Because Echai has been playing, of course, Portalcraft, which stacks your deck. Cheating. Just blatantly cheating.
Cheating.
He doesn't have nearly the same HP concern, right?
That's true.
At this point.
And I think what Echai is going to do, I mean, what Cal's going to do now is just try and switch gears here and just start hitting face.
Yeah, he's got to take an aggressive turn.
And I think he probably can because he has the Merchantet in hand, which also buffs. He has the H1 weaponry, which buffs as well, I'm pretty sure. There is a Rhino.
Okay, there's another Rhino.
He needs to get that ward into play now. Echai's got the resources at this point. It's completely flipped on his head now. Now Echai has resources, but he has to play defensive because you gotta be afraid.
Stay on your toes. Here you go. So what's the play here? Gonna run over the 3/3 and one of the 1/1s?
Yeah, I think you just have to run a puppet in, honestly, just because you can't take any damage at this point. Maybe you save it. Yeah, you have to. Like, you're so far away from finishing with Noah that it's a non-factor. You just have to use the puppets as board control at this point. And this Valse is staying on board because of that freaking Sky Gladiator. Again, the new mini expansion card coming into play here ends up boosting Sword a little bit in Take 2. Even when we kept saying that maybe it's fallen off, some of the new cards may have changed the game. Kabulin comes out.
Go into the ward piece. Instant removal, thanks to the Bane attribute. Charlotta, able to protect the board a little bit. Valse, gunshots to the Portalcraft head. Echai now down on health, but
I think that's it. You can't, HI can't deal with the vaults, and Kiao has a Merchant Tet in hand, which can buff the vaults even more. That Sky Gladiator took the game.
His effect, that one effect like 3 or 4 turns ago.
When you can't deal with a thing that just keeps going at your face, you lose.
And then he gets buffed afterwards, right? Yeah, man.
Oh, that's crazy. Man, I did not expect that, actually. Like,
and he was in dire straits, too. It was a good thing he was able to take that aggressive turn, be able to use vaults like that. Yeah. Somewhere out there, President Trump is smiling. Sure, the NRA. Really happy with that performance there. Anyway, thanks to you guys for tuning in to the Southeast Asia Oceania Shadowverse Open Brigade of the Skies Take-Two Cup. That was our first set. We saw we saw Echai go over Kyo, right?
Man, I should have expected
Kyo over Echai, sorry.
I should have expected that to happen because I was playing a lot of Take-Two before this tournament.
Sure.
Just to feel it out a little bit.
Get your feet back in the water.
I didn't see a lot of Swordcraft. But the one time I did, he played Sky Gladiator and just destroyed me because I couldn't do anything. And he just ran all the stuff in my face. And I'm like, okay, well, that's probably not going to happen on stream. And lo and behold, I shouldn't say anything.
Well, that's the cool thing, again, like we've been saying, right? That's the cool thing. You're able to see cards that don't necessarily get shined in some of the other competitive formats of this game. You're able to see them get that, again, be able to show you something in this Take-Two format. That's what's so cool about it. It's so fun.
Absolutely.
So coming up next, and this is going to be, again, another important match for the competitive legacy of Southeast Asia Oceania, right? On this side, we have BMA going up against Dream Life. These are 2 of our top 8 competitors and also 2 members of the top 10 leaderboard right now for Southeast Asia Oceania.
And BMA right now is first place, I believe, on the leaderboard right now. Again, like you said, if BMA wins this, he's locked.
He
doesn't have to worry about the next
He doesn't have to worry about what happens at the Unlimited next month. But for any of these other guys, they have to be able to put a win here and be able to perform and compete and perform at the Unlimited Cup next month. But for BMA, fighting for that Contenders Cup spot to lock his spot, and he's been grinding all year, man. He's been grinding.
We've seen him
all
since
year.
We've seen him since the start. He's been here the whole time.
That's the thing. That you have to imagine there's a certain kind of hunger. You finally get to this top 8 of this Take-Two Cup. You have a chance to be able to lock yourself in the Contenders Cup spot. He does not want to lose here. If he wins, he locks himself into one of those lucrative 2 spots.
Oh yeah,
man. That's big. You know he does not want to lose here, especially not against another top 10 leaderboard competitor like Dream Life.
Right, because if he loses here and lets Dream Life take the points advantage, then his spot on the leaderboard is in danger.
It's still in threat. He's still
exactly.
You know, he's not safe.
Right, and you know, I think actually
it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for him to get knocked out. To be fair.
Yeah, it's true.
But he's not technically safe, and crazier things have happened. Is the thing, man.
That's true. And I think it's actually Bima, by the way, because he was here in the World Circuit, and everyone was calling him Bima, and I'm like, have I been saying it wrong the whole time? Because his name is Brendan Ma, so it's Bima.
He's BMA to me, man.
Oh,
Bima.
I said that we were going out for food and drinks, and I said, hey, BMA, and everyone was like, actually, it's Bima. Like, everyone said that, except for him. He seemed to accept it at that point, but everyone else corrected me.
That's the risk you run when you just put letters in your name.
That's true.
That's just what happens.
You asked for it, basically, is what we're saying. But I think that Bima has that hunger, you know? Like you said, even if he gets first place here, he doesn't have to worry about the Unlimited. There's no chance that he's not playing in that Unlimited.
Well, look, I mean, anyway. The proof is in the pudding, right? When you've competed at majority of the Southeast Asia Oceania online tournaments over the course of the past, 9 months, right?
Yeah.
He's been in the mix consistently, and he's not first place randomly, right? You had to get points to be able to get there. He's been competing in all these events. You have to imagine towards the tail end of the year, it would be tragic if something happened, right, where you get knocked out of those first 2 spots. He is definitely fighting for that contention role here. And right now we have a draft going on right now. Looks like he's going to be running Dragon. Let's see what we got.
Yeah, Dragoncraft really is quite strong in Take-Two now as well.
Yeah, you mentioned that earlier, right? This is another class that traditionally, you know, Sword has been able to do really well against when we were talking about that. But Dragon has been kind of on the come up in Take-Two, it feels like.
Wow, and this is a really interesting pick right off the first pick here. New card, Poseidon, from the mini expansion.
Yep.
That card is so much value in one card. 8 play point, 5/7, that summons 2 1/3s with Ward in a single card. That boosts Dragon up a lot in Take-Two.
Star Phoenix no Sach himself either.
Oh, yeah. Rush, and it comes back.
But on the other side, Jerva, and Frenzy Drake.
Whoa,
he actually opts for Jerva and Frenzy Drake.
That's a madman pick right there. Jerva is really risky, because as we know, Jerva puts your health down to
high risk, high reward.
10.
High risk, high reward, right?
But, oh man, that's tough. That's really risky. All right, well, we'll see how this goes. And, you know, I trust Bima's picks, man. Bima has been telling everyone that he's one of the best players out there for Take-Two. He was kind of disappointed that he washed out the last Take-Two tournament because he was telling people that he was like top 5, something like that in the world. So
yeah, but Chronogenesis was able to do his thing, right?
He is a very strong player. You know, like you were saying, he's been consistently entering all those online tournaments, but not only that, he was here for the Shadowverse World Circuit Singapore 2018 as well. Like, he flew out here to play. Even though he was #1 on the leaderboard already, like, he still came.
That's the thing. Well, I mean, you got to put some respect on it, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's 2 approaches to it. You're #1 on the leaderboard. You either sit on that and you say, well, I'm going to keep homing that in, right? I want to keep phoning that in. I want to be able to build on that as much as possible, get my win that way. There's some people that would stay home off that. Bima, you have to look at him. You have to say, yeah, this dude really wants his spot. He really wants to be included in that Contenders Cup next month because he is going out and competing at any opportunity he has.
Oh, yeah.
If it's online, if it's in person.
He wants to make the chances that he's going to compete in the Contenders Cup
Maximizing
as
your
high as
chances,
possible,
right? Yeah.
And a lot of people respect him as probably one of the best players in the SEAO region, and for good reason. I mean, he's #1 in the leaderboard, but like holistically as well, when I talk to a lot of these players, they say when they're talking about the best player in the region, a lot of the time
his name comes up in the conversation for sure.
It's really interesting to see how the competition is going to shake out, because I was talking to Ryuri Pone in the World Circuit event as well, and in conversation he just casually brought up, by the way, BMA best player in the region, and now that they might have to fight each other here, so it's going to be interesting to see.
We'll see, man. This bracket definitely looks interesting. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how these.
And again, like we've been saying, right, a lot of point implications here for the leaderboard. This is definitely going to be an important match, marquee match of the day, maybe.
Yeah, I believe like 5 or 6 of the names in the top 8.
4, 5, 5. Yeah, 5.
But I mean, like overall, they're names that we've seen before.
Oh, for sure.
So it shows that these players are grinding hard, and I think that's part of the reason why Bima is competing in all these events, because he knows that even though he's at the top right now, I think the delta of skill is rapidly closing. And we saw that as we casted these tournaments throughout the year. The players have gotten significantly better since the beginning.
Yeah, like you said, the delta of skill, also the delta of leaderboard points, man. It's a really tight race here in Southeast Asia. You cannot rest on your laurels.
Now, I'm really interested to see how this Jerba pick is going to play out for Bima, man. And they're both playing Dragon here, so Dragon Mirror to start off here. They know the way to my heart. They know I'm a Dragon man, so they picked this one for me, I think.
They got some nasty Dragon websites out there, man.
It's not really what I was talking about.
All right. I'm just putting it out there. Anyway. Dragon Mirror, here you go.
I appreciate your concern.
Nah, man. Stay off the internet, bro, if there's anything I want. Bouncing back to Bima. Nothing too big early on.
I think you just played the Somniferous White Worm. Here we go. Yep.
Like you said, White Worm early on. Bouncing it back now to Dream Life. DL, what you got for me?
Again, Dream Life DL though, while we're talking about Bima here, Dream Life DL is another name we've seen pretty much since the beginning.
Yeah.
He's quietly sneaking his way in there. Now he's in top 8.
Like you said, quietly, right? Quietly, with very little fanfare in this, occupying the top 8 leaderboard spot, right? 8th place, actually. But within striking range, if he was able to make a win here today, if he's able to make a big run, all of a sudden he gets put in that top 2 contender spot conversation.
And you know, Dream Life is in a really good position here right now. You could see on Bima's face a couple turns ago, he had that, when he played the Lyriel against his White Worm, because that's an extremely efficient trade. Of course, Lyriel being able to withstand the first damage it takes, so it can trade into that White Worm essentially for free and still stick on the board. And now Bima had to fight back from that. But the good thing is that he played the Valkyrie of Chaos, he rolled right, he got the rush, so you gotta be pretty happy about that.
Is this Rider gonna rock an Evo point on it?
Now this is a card that is insanely good in Take-Two and not really in rotation, like we said, because 2 Banes is huge in Take-Two, especially when you're fighting for the board the entire time, right? And we see the Jerva in hand on Bima's side. Really want to see that played this game. I wonder if he actually likes the Jerva or if he just picked it because Frenzy Drake was worth it.
He might just like Jerva.
I mean, I like Jerva, but I'm biased because I revealed that card, so you know. I just flex a little bit.
Oh yeah, you did.
I know it's no big deal. I just revealed that card. It's not a problem. It's a bit
like
awkward.
You said, yeah.
Dream Life right now, though.
Basilisk Rider again. You can still see the value paying off here.
Oh yeah.
Like you said, whenever you get 2 Bane pieces for 1, man, that's really, really big.
Especially against Dragon here, because Dragon's whole shtick is gigantic dudes, and if you're running a gigantic dude to a 1/1,
big pieces, right?
Yeah.
susceptible to Bane, though. You're going to invest a whole lot of play points into nothing thanks to this Basilisk Rider.
No one cared who he was before he rode that Basilisk. And now he's got Bane for days. I'm sorry, is that like a dead meme?
No. That's where did you read that? Is that in the lore somewhere?
No, that's from the Dark Knight, man.
Is that
that's Bane from the Dark Knight Rises. I was Bane posting on stream there. You not watch that movie?
I didn't remember that one.
All right.
It's whatever, man. I'm sure someone out there on Reddit thought it gave you an upvote for
Thank you, I appreciate it.
I'm sure someone out there.
That's all I live for, is upvotes on Reddit. If I don't get my daily quota, I deteriorate and die.
Taking a minute to think about it. Gonna Evo on the Basilisk, actually?
That was a pretty tricky turn, because the cards in his hand were kind of awkward to play on.
Yeah.
So it looks like he's just going to go aggressive and run things in. And now it's become a damage dealer that Bima, I think, has to deal with. Although I feel weird calling him Bima after calling him BMA this entire time. I want to respect that a little bit, at least.
Yeah, again, like you said, just has to invest a whole lot of play points just in removing it.
But Bima has a 7 play point Canyon of the Dragon, so that's a hell of a card.
And yeah, he's coming up on 7 for him next.
That's 15 worth of stats out of 7 play points.
Yes, just a super high value card, man.
So what's the play on Dream Life's side, though? There's really, honestly, not a lot. A lot of his cards are reactive here. And he can't really push the board. Like, for example, the Beowulf is reactive. It destroys an enemy follower, but it's low on stats. The Eliza is reactive. It's a rush follower. So what do? Do you just play the Dragon Horde here? Do you play the Knight's Way to draw cards? It's interesting. It's tough also because you really don't want to be swinging the tempo this hard. Like if you're floating 6 play points and you're not developing your own tempo, and you're letting Bima then take that tempo advantage, it's going to be tough for you. It's like he is just going to play the Knight's Way because it was the most expensive thing. And try to get more resources out.
Yeah, he gets his draw out.
And instant play.
Let's go. Into the canyon. Man, it's such a scary card to deal with.
You just play Beowulf here, I guess? It's kind of sucky, right? Because you play a 6 play point and you only get 2-3 out to deal with their 5-5, and then they keep getting 5-5s as well. So it's a really awkward turn for Real Life here. Don't fault him for thinking this through. Now the Dragwing Assassin, I believe, can deal with this. Oh, wow.
Okay, that's interesting.
I think Dream Life might have... Ooh, that's a lot of overdraw, though. He has the Knight's Way up, he got the Star Phoenix back, and he's going to draw again next turn. So he's actually milling a lot of his own cards here. Playing that Dragon Horde might have been a mistake.
So this Goblin Mount Ogre now going to act as a ward piece to be able to protect the dragons that come out at the end of the turn as a result of Canyon and the Dragon Amulet play.
Interesting. Instead of ramping, he's just choosing to play a 1-3. He's recognizing that as long as I have stuff on board, that's a tough.
Yeah, like you said.
Well. As long as I have stuff on board, I'm more likely to win. Although at this point in the game, Green Life now has the Frenzy Drake, so that's almost certainly going to come down. And I think all of his cards in hand, except for 1 are blank cards, so should deal 7 damage or 6. Oh no, he has the yeah, that's right. He has the Mammoth as well, so 6 damage, and that was just enough.
There's now only 1 dragon turn left.
That Jerva's sitting in hand. I'm just like, I'm anxious to play it. It's dangerous, but if he did it, he would be the people's champion too, you know, so there's value there. But what else could you do? Like, how do you deal with a 7/7 on this turn? You just play your own, I guess. That works. Not gonna save it for a wider board.
Use Blazing Breath to be able to finish him off. Making use of some of that remove card.
I think the rationale there was that Bima recognized that Dream Life just spent a Frenzied Drake. So if I flood the board now, it's less likely that he's going to have answers. Yeah. So it's best to just have a giant body and see where things go from there. And Dream Life is hemorrhaging cards now because he's seriously overdrawing a lot of his resources, maybe too many. Because that Knight's Way plus that Dragon Horde play, I think he's lost a total of 3 cards now to the mill. which has been pretty awkward. Like, you don't really want to lose resources in take 2 for the most part, because you can't build your deck in such a way that you're really trying to draw towards a specific win con. So losing cards is pretty painful, especially when they're pretty high value cards.
Yeah, especially when that's what I was gonna say. Especially when they're big body cards or high impact cards, like we saw 1 or 2, right?
Right. The Frostfire Dragon in particular. That card is really good in take 2, and losing that is tough. I think BMA just had a really solid play and kind of curved out better this game, but we'll see if GMF can't bring it back. Black Breath on the 7/7.
Black Breath. You don't want to talk to girls with that.
It's interesting that he chose to. I guess it's not worth it to take out the Canyon of the Dragons at this point, because because the Canyon Dragon is popping this turn anyway. But if he had the Galua way earlier, it would have been a lot less painful, because then he could have targeted that Canyon at least and saved himself a lot of trouble. Now look at this. Bima still has both of his evolution points. He hasn't milled any cards. He has some really high value stuff. Meanwhile, Dreamlife is sitting there with a bunch of low-cost stuff like the Maelstrom Dragons and the Beowulfs, and he milled a ton of cards. I think Bima is just in a much better position right now, with the evolves, with the hand.
In general, yeah, his comfort level I think it seems a lot stronger. Just looking at his hand.
Well, this is there's a lot of options this turn, so he's thinking everything through. Let's see. One option is to play the Rackham and then evolve it, allowing him to trade over the 6/1 for free. Then what are you developing alongside? Maybe play the Adele after that, and then a 2-drop. Then you flood the board that way. You've already seen one. Okay,
hold on 1 second. Wait a minute.
The entire time he was just calculating the risk in his brain. He was like, if I play this now?
That's like that classic that meme picture where one guy's sitting down with all the things in his head.
And you see the math equations floating in the air.
And then the other guy's just like one thing.
I was thinking that he was thinking, oh, do I play the Rackham here? Do I play
you had the real big brain stuff going on. He's just like, nah, I'm just playing Jerva.
I mean, this is the people's champion play too, you know? He plays this. The chat's gonna go wild. It's like, hell yeah, Jerva's out in the field. But now it's kind of awkward. How do you clear this now? I mean, he still has all his evolves. He can very well clear this, I think. But it's risky though, putting yourself to 8 defense against Dragoncraft, who has big body storms a lot of the time. I don't know. It looks like he's gonna get that Dragon Oracle out of here.
There she is, Adele, man, rolling in the deep. Gonna put the Evo on her.
Very good. I like how you made the Adele reference the first time around. Last time we saw the Adele the entire time.
It took me a minute. I'm up to speed now.
Yeah. We didn't make a reference for far too long the last time.
We could have had it all, Ignitius.
Yeah. You're on your game today. Eh?
What? Nah, man, it's just the time difference. So early morning. So here we go. Means we're gonna check Adele now.
Good tool, good tool. That Star Phoenix doing work, man. I think that this Jerva is doing a lot less damage than Bima would have hoped for. How do you deal with this 6-drop now? You gotta run something in. Ideally, you just kill the 6-drop so that the 5 damage can go to face, right? But then, how do you deal with that? So you can play the Rackham and evolve it, but you really don't want to be playing your Rackhams right now. Ah, that helps. Okay, it looks like you just have to do it this way. That's your last evolve, though. Although that Frenzy Drake draw is insanely important, because as we see in Dreamlife's hand, he's got a Poseidon.
He's got the Poseidon coming out that's going to get him some pieces out there.
Hello.
Yeah, that Drake was right on time.
That Jerva damage went face, and that makes me happy. That's the whole point. You want to clear, you play the Jerva, and then you do your best to clear their board every turn so that you can just hit them in the face for 5. And so far, Bima didn't really have the tools to get rid of Dreamlife's board, but looks like he's starting to turn things his way. Or at least he thinks so. I think the best play for Dreamlife right now would be to play the Poseidon, then play 1 Maelstrom Dragon and run it into the 5/1. And hope that that sticks through, because he doesn't know that...
he doesn't know that obviously Bima has the Frenzy Drake in hand.
And even if Bima does play the Frenzy Drake, that... I guess it would be a full clear, right? Because the Jerva effect is on as well. Yeah. So it would destroy the Poseidon as well. Yeah. So that Frenzy Drake really is exactly what he needed in this situation.
That was perfect timing.
Although, looking at his hand now, the Frenzy Drake only does 2 damage, right? So he needs to definitely draw a Dragoncraft card off the top, or else this Frenzy Drake is going to be a lot less effective than he would hope. It looks like he's going to take the play that I talked about, decided into the Nielsen Dragon here. Is it a Dragoncraft card? Hey, okay, safe. That could have been dicey if it wasn't.
Bima taking a minute to think about it.
Yeah, is there a better play? Let's see. You can play the Drakewing Assassin right into the 1-3, run the 4-2 into the 1-3, but then the 5-7 still lives, so doesn't seem super good. Yeah, it's a bit awkward. I mean, playing the Frenzy Drake also destroys your own Dragon Rider here, but not much you can do about that, I think. Unless you really want to save this Frenzy Drake for another rainy day, but...
Yeah, no better time like the present. So here we go. Gonna rock the board. Bouncing it back to Dream Life DL now. What's the play here?
That's a Venom Tail Salamander that you can put in the way, so that's probably pretty good. It lets this Frenzy Drake not go face, but as we see in Bima's hand, he does have the Drakewing Assassin. There really is no way for Dream Life to deal with the 7-7 right now, so I think what you have to do is play the Venom Tail Salamander and hope it gets in the way of the 7-7. Otherwise, you're taking 7 to face. You cannot afford that when
you
Jerva
can't really
is
afford it
active.
at this point.
Are we going to see Jerva win a game here? I'm going to be very happy if that happens.
You spoke it into existence, man. You have no one to thank but yourself for this.
I mean, I could thank the actual player who's playing the game and making the plays that I want to have.
Nah, he's just doing what the universe will.
He's carrying my will through the tubes of the internet. He's got it in his blood. That's what's happening. It's not because he's, you know, one of the best Take-Two players out there and the top points earner in SEAO.
My man's been grinding in a dungeon. Look at his room. Just white walls everywhere.
It's sensory deprivation. When all you see is Shadowverse,
my man can see the dragons.
Yeah.
He can see the dragons.
He sees the source code. You know?
No wall scrolls. Look at this.
That's right. No distractions, man. He's got white sheets. Look at that. It's a pure room, dude. Yeah, this is tough though for Dream Life here. Although, okay, so how do you? He's just putting the giant body in the way to block a Jerva shot, right?
Yeah.
How? And also because it's a threat, because Bima's at 10 defense the entire time, right? So the only thing that Bima can do here is clear the elephant, but that's actually really easy to do, right? So actually, I'm not sure about the rationale behind that play. I think I would have liked to see the Venom Tail Salamander here more. But the Venom Tail Salamander would have cost him more damage, so maybe he anticipated Bima to have a rush
Smack
there.
face for 7.
It's all about anticipating what your opponent has in hand. Right?
Getting out the Jerva damage is going to clear this out.
Like even though the Jerva damage clears this out, it's kind of sad. If he played the Venom Tail Salamander, he would have been taking 12 damage this turn instead of 7.
So it mitigates your losses, right?
That's why he took so long on that turn, I think.
Sure.
He was trying to calculate the risk.
Had to think about it.
Yeah. Because